Hello there, I'm Big Alias, and I'm going to do a bit of a different one here. I'm going to respond to a comment. Now, I don't want to set the standard that I'm going to respond to every comment with a video. That's asinine, but also, I'm not mad at this person, not angry, but the reason that I didn't respond to the comment directly is because, like, I just don't, and I'm not going to, by the way. I won't be responding to comments on here, but I typically just don't do it. I don't think it's conducive, but I do think that there's, like, a lot to say in this realm, and I thought, like, my response to this would be so all-encompassing that I thought I'd just do a video out of it. So me making this video is not made out of malice or anger or anything like that, and I'm also not going to say the person's name. So this was on my most recent video about Trump-Epstein situation, and the person said, to say that only right-wing media or influencers are the ones who made money off the backs of Trump is insane. What about the channel I watch every day who opposes everything that Trump says and farms views just because he opposes them? Thumbs down. Okay, thumbs down. Cool. Thanks for letting me know. So I'm already incredulous. No, I mean, I'm not mad. Okay, but I will say, look, again, like I am going to get a little bit annoyed here. So this is not directly directed at you. It's directed at the situation that we're in. So firstly, it really pisses me off. Not this comment, but the conservative approach to argument, like political debate, really annoys me. Particularly the current day one. I'd say more specifically the Republican one than the British conservatives that we have, although it's similar. And that's the tit for tat nature of it. I can't stand it. It really annoys me. It's the worst. It's not the worst form of argument making and debating, but it's a pretty bad one. To just go, oh yeah, he did this, but actually she did that. Oh, he did this, but actually I think you'll find that they did that. Someone needs to tap you on the shoulder and tell you that two wrongs don't make a right. Firstly, because you were clearly never told. But also, it's just ridiculous. Like you have to, if you're up against criticism, you have to formulate a response that is conducive and that is actionable. You cannot just throw out, but she did this. And that's the thing about this whole argument altogether. This applies to this subject matter of the video, because that's exactly what Trump did. And I hate the way that his attitude always trickles down to his fans. But that's what Trump does. He says, oh, you think that I'm bad? What about what Hillary did? Oh, what about what Sleepy Joe did? Yeah, okay. And with these Epstein files, oh, Trump's in it. Well, Bill Clinton's in it too. Okay. Arrest him too. He should get in trouble too. They both should, except one of them is the current president of the United States and has done other bad shit, and the other one's a guy who was the president. They should both get in trouble. Lock them both up if they're both on the fucking list. I don't care. And the thing is, that's the thing. If you speak to anyone on the left and you go, oh well, Bill Clinton did this, it's like they'll all tell you, okay, I don't give a fuck. He's not the president. I don't give a shit. Do whatever you want, man. It always bugs me, this tit for tat nature. I don't care. Deal with the problem at hand that you're being faced with. Because if someone is criticizing something that your president is doing, then every chance that it could be valid. And if it is valid, then it's something that needs to be dealt with. Stop the tit for tat. Oh, it gets on my nerves. But in terms of the argument itself, I want to pick this apart. And I think this isn't, again, I don't like to do direct responses. So there's an all in all package response to this, to many left versus right situations. So firstly, I didn't once mention that the left didn't make any money off of Trump. Not once in the video. And that's because I don't feel that way. The subject matter of the video was regarding the right and how much money they made off of Trump. But yes, I completely agree that the left made a lot of money off of Trump. Do I think that that's happening yet now? Yes. Do I think that the left grift as well? I would say that there's not nearly as much of it, but it absolutely happens. However, what you're talking about, I don't know exactly who you're referring to. So it could be the case, it could be a grifter, but from the outline you've given me, that just sounds like someone who reports on the news who is left-wing. And everyone's going to have their political allegiance. I'm not a fan of centralists, and I know that like news reporters try to be central, but let's be honest, Fox News isn't exactly left wing. So that's just what's going to happen. You know, people are going to dog on Trump, particularly as, don't forget that right now, and I don't know the entire context, so I don't know how long this person has been dogging on Trump for, but right now it's like I'm against this guy who's right wing, but I'm also against this guy who's a pedophile. So it's a little bit different, you know. I think it's okay to criticize pedos, personally speaking, or allegedly people who, I don't even know what I'm allowed to say, allegedly on the Epstein list. But yeah, I do agree. I do think that the left made money off of Trump. Look at SNL, of course. Like SNL had a whole run from 2016 to 2020 where they made a boatload of money off of Trump. And I do think that, like, yeah, there was some retaliatory YouTube channels and even like big budget films and stuff like that made a lot of money off of being anti-Trump. And so, yeah, I mean, yeah, I do agree. However, I would say that, again, I don't think that, like, I think that it's a different beast. And I think that, like, criticizing Trump, and again, like, criticizing the president is a very important thing to do. If you have untapped allegiance to a president without criticizing them, that's a problem. It's a video for another day, but that is a major issue, and that's how dictatorships are formed. So criticizing the president during a news run is kind of par for the course and sort of needs to happen. Do I think it's a grift? It all depends on how far it goes. Yeah, if the content is entirely circled around like, oh, people engage with this and people like this and people latch onto it, then yeah, it does become a grift. I think the big difference is that when we look at like the people on the right who made money from Trump, and in a big way, and I mean the grifters, the people I mentioned in the previous video, Aiden Ross and, you know, Critical Drinker to a lesser extent, and all of these, you know, Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson, people like that. When we look at people like that, the reason that it's so egregious and so frustrating and such a grift is because it's not just that they're reporting on news with a right-wing viewpoint. It's because the like socio-political talking points have sewn the fabric of every single fucking thing that they've said for the past decade. And that is where like my issues with like using Trump's name to make a bunch of money come into play, because like when it's just sewn into absolutely everything. One was have a look through the Critical Drinkers YouTube channel and you tell me if every single one of his videos has something to do with some sort of far right talking point. They all do, and they don't need to. None of them do, or maybe not none of them, but the majority of them don't. They're films, it's entertainment, and if they want to take a political stance, so be it. You don't have to inject it yourself into every piece of media that you watch. Same goes for Ben Shapiro. Every time there's an issue, it's an issue of trans people have caused this. They've got in the way. It's their problem. You know, a rapper like Tom MacDonald, he's Canadian and was releasing music about an American president winning. It doesn't affect him whatsoever, but he was still releasing that because that's what catches on. That's what these people want to see. So when I say that Trump made people so much money, that's what I mean. And I do think he made SNL a lot of money through viewership because people were anti-Trump and they didn't want, you know, they wanted to see something that was rebelling against that. Yeah, okay, I completely agree. But the number of people whose careers were made by sowing the narratives that he introduced in order to become president in 2016, the number of people who have made their livelihoods on perpetuating trad wives, on celebrating old-fashioned values, you know, and the whole Make America Great Again dogma. All of these people who made their entire careers off of this made so much money by just repeating talking points and making that the sole focus of everything that they said. And so they're not reporting on the news. So they're not telling you new things. They're not like giving you a scoop into what's happening around the world. They're sifting everything that happens through this lens that will garner them more engagement. And that's how the grift works. The left did use Trump's name. They did, I completely agree, but not in the same way, and not as egregiously, and not to such an explosive effect. I mean, I wish I had statistics and ways to back this up, but I don't. But I mean, just look at it. Really do look at it, and there's a lot of stuff that I'm not even touching on, like a lot of streamers who made a lot of their money by targeting this new incel generation, who then used their lack of critical thinking to sell them betting websites and made millions, if not billions, off of the back of that, because they managed to cultivate this environment of people who are not going to say no to this very cult-like environment, and then sold them on something that obviously cost them a boatload of money, but made the streamers a boatload of money. There are so many avenues in that direction, and it's all influenced by what Trump did. You can mock him and criticize him all day long, but what he did, and this is why I said he was the most influential person of the last decade of modern history, what he has done to weave these talking points into the fabric of society and change how we reach people is just monumental. And the right really did make the most of that. And the left, I would argue, not so much. But yes, I agree. The left did, the right did a lot more.
The PlayStation is only $149, and you can also get leading titles.